Hi everyone, we're back with another video. We're the TheFanStand. We're back with another video,
100%.
and today we're going to talk about in this video about Arsenal versus Wolves. Arsenal was leading 1-0 up front, but then in the end lost their way and ended up in a draw. So
I
Same
still
old
feel
Arsenal.
eventually, Arsenal's management is going to be saying good evening to, Unai Emery.
The time's drawing close now.
He's gonna
Not good times to be Arsenal fan. I mean,
Exactly.
it is absolutely frustrating. You can't draw results away from home and even at home.
even if you score 5 goals,
I think Arsenal fans are hoping they'll start losing so that is the only way maybe Emery can get the
I
sack.
think,
Yeah.
I think Wenger was better for them. At least they got number 4 on
yeah, they were
the
forced,
leaderboard.
but
Yeah.
it was
See,
still 4.
I
jokes,
shouldn't say anything.
jokes apart, there has been no improvement.
Agreed.
Now, the reason why Wenger left is because you want to bring in a manager who you thought will bring some improvement, some changes. And Unai Emery has not done that. We finally saw Ozil making a start in the Premier League after a long
At
time.
last.
At last, under Emery. But, the insane thing which I saw, Arsenal is a playmaker who plays more of attacking role behind the strikers. He's in the mid, and Torreira, who's a central defensive midfielder, is
He
playing
was-
ahead of Ozil.
Yeah.
Now, where is sense in that? What is Emery doing? If you see his body language, he's just sitting in the dugout, and
Yeah.
he's not even passionate or vocal about things happening on the pitch.
But you can't really comment on that,
No, as in, honestly speaking, no, that plays a very big role, I suppose, because,
That does.
even, I'll start off with Ozil, you've got a pace up front, you've got a very potent striker in the form of Aubameyang,
Yeah.
yet, you're not playing the best, playmaker that you have,
The person who can supply him the best.
Exactly. He's proved himself at Real Madrid. He's won a World Cup. He's
Germany.
proved himself even at Arsenal as well.
Even at
But I don't get why Unai Emery doesn't really give Ozil the importance that he deserves.
he
honestly
doesn't even
speaking.
against Liverpool in that 10-goal thriller. The moment he took Ozil off, the man
Yeah.
was making things happen for Arsenal.
And then Liverpool came
in,
back.
Involved, I think 2 or 3 assists.
I think
in
3
that match.
assists.
And as soon as he came off, Liverpool, started scoring.
Yeah,
So
came back.
that link between the mid and the strike force, Ozil was the mediator who was feeding those balls for the attackers to score.
Definitely.
And coming back to Hassan's point as well, that a manager's presence is always felt. You look at the biggest managers. You look at as much as we ridicule Arsene Wenger for his comical behavior on the sidelines. It always had an impact on his players. Even if you look at the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson, you
Mourinho,
look at,
Klopp,
exactly.
Guardiola, everyone.
You look at Conte as well, who was obviously he was sacked from Chelsea,
Definitely.
but he was pretty animate, on that sideline as well. That puts up pressure. That lets your players know that your manager isn't happy with the performance that you're probably giving out there.
Probably.
So I feel that the manager standing on the sideline and actually guiding their players, it can boost your morale. It could probably trigger that seriousness in you. And obviously, you're in the middle of the game. You obviously when you're playing a game, a manager coming up to you and telling you what you're doing wrong and where you should probably tactically fix yourself. That's a very important point in football.
Yeah, because the manager sitting outside, he can see from a different angle what the
Yeah.
other team is saying.
100%.
So he can, send in
100%.
command.
He made one change that Saka did not start this match.
Yeah.
So the fans were happy. But on the other hand, Wolves now, a lot of people, including myself, been criticizing maybe they're suffering from a second season syndrome. They have additional matches to play in the Europa League, which might be tough on them because they don't have a very big squad.
Definitely.
But they're picking up pace now, and they played really well. Ruben Neves, I mean, whenever he was getting a lot of space from the defense, and he was keeping on shooting, and the keeper was forced, Leno, I think, in goal, was forced to make saves. Now, when you're playing against the opposition, you at least have to do your homework. Now, everyone knows that Neves likes to shoot from long ranges. He did that at Old Trafford against United. and he has the ability. Now, no one is closing in and trying to block his shots. If you watch the match, in the very last minute of the match, Roman Saiz from the Moroccan, I believe, of Wolves, he almost scored. He almost
Caused an upset.
scored the winner for Wolves in the dying minutes. But I mean, I don't know what is going on at Arsenal at the moment.
But if you look at Arsenal's squad against probably Wolves' squad, Mohsen, you definitely see a difference in quality as well.
Obviously,
Arsenal
obviously,
obviously is an upgrade of quality.
Definitely, upgrade
on
of
paper.
quality, and they have a match against Leicester, which won't be easy.
Exactly.
They won 2-0.
Yeah.
And Hassan, I was discussing with you earlier on, rumors have been circulating that if Leicester win, this might be Unai Emery's last match or his last month at the club with Arsenal.
Yeah, and chances of Leicester winning are really high as well, because if you look at the stats, Leicester has scored the second highest number of goals and has conceded the least number of goals. So Leicester is going up against an Arsenal which is misfiring at the moment, especially on the managerial end. It's going to be I see Leicester winning, and Leicester is going really well.
And then I'd like to ask something. Rumors of Mourinho coming in and Arsenal. So your views as a United fan, apart your former manager, do you think he'll accept the Arsenal job? Is it just rumor because he dined out with, I believe, the chairman or the technical director of the club? Raul had dinner. So
yeah, the Times is reporting that.
Your views on the rumors, I can say nothing is confirmed.
So
yet.
particularly if you look at the kind of options that manager like Mourinho has on the table at the moment. At one end, there is Tottenham, which can possibly give their manager a sack. Then there's Arsenal. And then there's this other team that sprouted up just recently, actually in the morning today, that's Bayern Munich, and Kovac has been given the sack. Now when you look at all of these three options, when you're talking about a club like Bayern Munich, you've got the likes of probably the Allegri, Arsene Wenger as well, and obviously Mourinho being strongly linked to that position. But when you're talking about a manager like Mourinho, the kind of structure that Bayern Munich in particularly has is a very rigid structure. It's a very systematic structure that they have, and that's pretty classic or signature of a German club per se, right? And they have this sporting director in place. I don't see Mourinho gelling in too well with the sporting director being there in place. Because Mourinho is more of the guy who wants to be empowered, who wants to be the decision maker because he's got a very big ego. And with the sporting director there in the picture as well, Mourinho is definitely going to have a clash with the sporting director. He's had a clash at United with Ed Woodward. He's had a clash with the owner at Chelsea.
Yes.
He's obviously also had a clash when he was in Real Madrid as well.
Definitely.
But then on the other hand, or the other end of the spectrum, you've got, in the Premier League, you've got Tottenham and Arsenal that are possible, landing locations for this manager. When you're talking about Mourinho or, even Pep Guardiola for that matter, these are managers who cannot take a defeat. They love to be handed over, a blank check that they want to write the number on themselves. So obviously, when you're talking about Tottenham, you do not expect a club like Tottenham to dish out such an amount or an amount that would be massive enough for a manager like Mourinho. Some would obviously debate on this that when he was his time at United, he gave the academy players a lot of game time as well, and he made do with the kind of squad that he had. But eventually that also boiled down with him, getting the sack, because obviously he ended up in a clash with them. So at the moment, of all the options that are on the table, I feel Arsenal is probably the best option. Although Arsenal's infamous for not, dishing out that kind of money. But then obviously when Arsenal seeing, a whole history of failures, obviously. So I feel that they'd want to come back onto the scene, onto the footballing scene, and if they're going for a manager like Mourinho, then they're obviously looking for a serial winner in him. Nothing to take away from him, from his time at United. I feel I respected him a lot. United was one of those teams that I really wanted him to stick around because I felt personally, there's just an opinion again, he emulated the same personality for me or the same aura or charisma as Sir Alex Ferguson as well. When he was in Manchester United, which is a very big claim to be made.
So
but
do you think he's going to be vindictive against United?
100%, as in, see, he's an injured wolf at the end of the day, and an injured wolf is always looking for some blood. He definitely come in when he came into United. I remember there was a Chelsea fan that came up to him for Mourinho to sign his shirt, but Mourinho merely ignored that fan. So I see the same thing happening at Arsenal as well. He's got a point to prove, and more than that, Arsenal has a lot of prestige to it as well. Whatever
It's a
we may
previous winner as
exactly
well.
as in whatever we may say about Arsenal, Arsenal's a big team. It's a big brand of football, and it's a major presence in the Premier League as well. So definitely, Mourinho would definitely want to remind both Chelsea and United about what they've lost in Mourinho as a manager. But having said that, United was always his
His dream
yeah,
job.
his
Yeah.
dream job.
Yeah, well,
But I love you, Mourinho. If you're watching this, I'm sure you're not.
well, yes, yes. He was the first subscriber.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know. Part of me believes because the rumors are becoming so strong,
Yeah.
week after week. But then there's a part of me which thinks, I don't know, he might not take the job, or they're just rumors. But he's dining out with the
owner.
personnel from Arsenal.
There's another
so-
factor that we've missed out on. He always had this ego war with Arsene Wenger.
Yeah.
I was
gonna come
it
to
was
that.
like he was going to punch
If
him
you
or
look
something.
at Mourinho as a person, he's very vindictive.
Yes,
to a
yes.
point that people may think that he's even petty at times and futile at times. But my point is that if at Arsenal, Mourinho joining Arsenal, it could also
But,
be.
I was trying.
yeah,
going
I
to
could
make
do a
that
better
point.
job
Trying
than
to-
probably Arsenal.
Yeah, I was going to bring up that point.
But one argument I have: do you think he likes to be a winner? He likes to win something. Do you think he'll come in the middle of the season and end up with nothing with Arsenal for this season? Because he will have an excuse that I've just taken mid of the season and I just played out with whatever I have.
See, I
had,
definitely
but-
think, were you asking me this question probably 2 years back or 3 years back, I'd probably be of the sentiment that, Mourinho is definitely not going to come in like this. Mourinho would definitely want some
Start
PR
fresh,
hype
yeah,
around him.
yeah.
He'd want to start fresh.
Hmm.
But my point is, at the end of the day, Mourinho's standing jobless, and if Arsenal comes after him, even at the in the middle of the season, I feel Arsenal is a big enough name in the
They
Premier League
are,
and in the world of football.
A strong fan base, a legacy.
Exactly.
They still have the invincible tag, good set
Exactly.
of players, but
Definitely.
expect
I mean, a few World Cup winning
Yeah,
players as
World
well.
Cup
100%,
winners,
100%.
but expect a lot of changes.
Plus,
And
yeah.
Arsenal fans have to be very patient because he's not going to bring the same brand of style which Wenger plays.
Yeah.
But
He's
if
a
you're
more
o-
defensive-minded
if you're
manager.
but if you're okay
Exactly.
if you're okay with success, then I think he's the right man for the job. But he needs time. You can't just expect miracles by end of the season.
But
if he takes
I've seen
over.
a couple of I interrupted you terribly there. But honestly, there are a lot of Arsenal fans as well out there. I've been going through a couple of Arsenal fan camps, and a lot of Arsenal fans do not agree with the possible appointment of Mourinho.
they do not.
But I'd say that that for Arsenal fans that United in United there's a whole lot of politics and controversy going on. His contract was extended 6 months before he was sacked. I feel that if United would have given him time and would have backed him in the summer transfer window, things would have been much different. Yes, obviously, he'll definitely bring a change in the brand of football that Arsenal plays. But he's definitely a serial winner, and he likes
Yes,
nothing less
but
than the best.
I'd like to just talk about before we end that Arsenal fans, if he comes, the chances look very high.
Hi.
Expect that the youth players, which Arsenal has a habit of promoting, might not get their chance, and expect a lot of changes. But I think he is a winner. He needs time. I think United, when they gave him the extension, they should have been patient with him. They should have given him more time, at least by the end of the season. He might have, maybe might have done well in the Champions League or the FA Cup or somewhere.
Plus, if you look at the squad as well, he's got Ozil that he's played with, he's got Mkhitaryan
but
that
he
he's played
had
with,
a
he's got
controversial
He's
he's got
relation
David Luiz. Yeah, I
with
understand
Ozil
that
at Real
completely.
Madrid. That
See, he had a very controversial relationship with Romelu Lukaku as well at Chelsea, but then he brought him in as a player at Manchester
same
United.
with Marta as well.
Exactly, with Marta
Yeah.
as well. And he managed them brilliantly well as well. Plus, I see that, there are these players, David Luiz,
Yeah,
you
he's
got
worked-
Ozil there,
worked with-
Mkhitaryan there,
worked before with Mourinho.
Exactly.
So that is good.
So
One-
even, sorry, go
Sorry,
on.
I think I just want to finish off. Mourinho, I know you're watching. The main,
I
the
love
main,
you,
the
man.
main, the main pressure for him would be if he loses a match to face AFTV.
Huh.
Troops and co, the way they're going to criticize him, I think more than the board, he's going to resign from Arsenal because of AFTV,
Yeah.
the fan.
I'd say
One
something in
thing-
Urdu. I'd love to say something in Urdu. Mourinho, yaar, thoda sa halka aana hai.
Acha, one thing I
At
have
least
to
the-
add upon is that I don't feel Mourinho and Arsenal are a good fit because why I feel that is you've touched upon both of the points. One is that I don't see Arsenal giving him the checkbook. Arsenal doesn't. It's just not the Arsenal way. Arsenal plays the academy, buys one or two players, and then plays the academy players.
See, you have to see now. That's a decision to make.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Do you want to continue with what you've been doing for the past 20 years? Then you need a different type of manager.
100%.
Now the other managers they've linked, Allegri.
Allegri.
He is. You don't know what to expect. He's not been there in the Premier League. He inherited. That is my point of view. He inherited an already well-built side from Antonio Conte at Juventus.
Definitely.
Okay? So the Serie A was a walk in the park for him, and he did come. He did reach the Champions League final, I think, twice, but he could not, beat Real Madrid or Barcelona. Now, there are a lot of other managers as well. For me, I was sitting with an Arsenal fan a week earlier, and I think that for me the best manager they could bring was Thomas Tuchel from PSG, who knows how to work with young players and has experience of coaching with inexperienced young players at Mainz as well as Dortmund.
Yeah.
But Mourinho, then again, if you want to compromise on all of that and just have a manager with a very strong winning mentality with a proven record, then
Exactly.
definitely go for
And then I
Mourinho.
feel that you can't exactly compare the two, Allegri and Mourinho per se. If you look at Mourinho's CV, the things that he's achieved with Inter Milan, the
Porto.
things that he's achieved at Porto, obviously, the things that he achieved with Chelsea,
Even Chelsea.
whatever Chelsea is today. Personally, I feel
That is
that
Mourinho style
they
right
owe
now.
a great deal to
I mean,
Mourinho.
His
Definitely.
very
Right.
first match against Alex Ferguson at Old Trafford in 2004.
Exactly.
And he won.
And he was then nicknamed the special one.
Yeah, he denies it. He himself called him the special one, but now he says he meant it in a different context.
Because
But
I feel that with time, Mourinho is he reminds me of Brian Clough a lot because with time he is maturing up with although people see it as probably a lack of charisma in his personality, but I'd say that he's becoming a bit mature in front of the camera.
he has.
With the general journalists around him, because that's an important factor when you're playing in England. The tabloid talks and the ever pestering journalists that you have around you. I feel that you need to be a bit politically correct as well at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And if you look at him, the one thing that he really lacks in his CV is consistency with a club.
Very good.
And I feel
Definitely.
that he realizes that fact that every 2 years he has to find a new job. He's eventually going to run out of clubs to probably work for. So I feel that eventually he will need to subside that ego that he has, and that's exactly what he's doing. And even if you look at him at Sky Sports, he talks about it. He realizes that it was a bit of his issue as well. issues as well, and a bit of the management at United as well. But obviously, at the end of the day, the kind of reputation that Mourinho has and the kind of personality that Mourinho has, he'd rather come up to a person and say that you were the key to all the problems, rather than admitting that the problem actually lied with him.
And anyone coming in place of to replace Emery, whether it's Mourinho, Allegri, Ancelotti, anyone, whoever's linked, that is an upgrade.
By the way, Ancelotti is a very interesting name that you just brought
Yeah,
up.
well, that just came out, but I don't think he's in charge of Napoli at the moment.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'll come at one time. A season or two they were linked with a name like Simeone,
Yes.
who's very the opposite of Arsene Wenger.
Bilkul.
He's more like Mourinho, not exactly when you talk about success and achievement, but somewhere
His playing style is pretty conservative.
Yeah.
Conservative.
And the personality as well.
So Arsenal fans, I think maybe this might be a revolution they need. They need to change everything which is going on, and Emery has been doing nothing. His training routine has been criticized. His diet plan has been criticized. I don't know. He lacks
people management has
charisma.
been
He lacks that touchline vocalism on the sideline. So, and it's just, the starting lineup which he comes up with is questionable because nothing is working out for him, and he's not taking any risk to change the outcome.
And if you look at
matches.
Mourinho's acquisitions as well, player acquisitions as well, you'd see that Mourinho does not only go for big stars. A good example could be Kurt Zuma at Chelsea, Varane at Real Madrid.
Definitely.
These weren't exactly star-studded players, but he got them into the team.
And he made them stars.
Exactly.
He made them. Even the Chelsea
Exactly.
team he made. I mean, I don't think a lot of people knew who Drogba, Czech.
I didn't know
and
who
these-
Lindelof was.
Yeah, see now, and Lindelof still paying off for United.
He's playing really
there.
well.
He's playing well. He's a key part of key
Agreed.
member of the United
Agreed.
squad.
The defensive side.
Agreed.
Alright, so I guess that's about it about the Arsenal versus Wolves.
Mourinho, I love you.
Yeah, we don't,
You said that
we
3
don't think
times.
we
Well,
really think about.
I think Leicester's going to win. Emery's going to get the sack.
Yeah, Emery's gonna. We all agree. Emery's gonna get the sack. But do tell us who's going to join Arsenal. I don't think Mourinho is going to join.
Do you
They think
want
they are-
Arsenal fans? Do you
Yes.
want Mourinho or do you
We
want
want-
someone else?
Let me correct
Except
myself.
Jurgen Klopp.
I don't think Mourinho is going to join. I think Arsenal's the best fit for Mourinho, considering the current options
Yeah.
in the market.
So, do remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments who do you wish to manage. Who do you wish to see managing Arsenal in the future?
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.